International Academy of Ethics, Dr. Jarnail Singh Anand, and the Chairman, Organizing Committee, Dr. Basudev Chakravarti, we intend to talk at length on the role of poetry in the contemporary world. With the unflinching support of my team, Professor Randhir Gautam, Dr. Manvinder Anand, and Dr. Mukesh Grover, I, Parneet Jaggi, welcome you all to this mega event once again to weave a multicolored tapestry of creative ideas and intellectual inputs and contribute to the making of a better society. Now, the inaugural session, as we just talked, shall be followed by the world premiere of books and finally the International Poetry Conclave, which is going to be a creative session of luminary poets and stalwarts who would be talking about poetry accompanied by the rendition of selected poems. Today, I stand before you to celebrate and champion poetry as the last hope of humanity. In a world besieged by turmoil, uncertainty, and the relentless march of time, poetry definitely, undeniably emerges as a beacon of light, offering solace, insight, and a profound connection to our shared humanity. Here, I would like to quote somebody in quotes, arranged in words, colored with images, struck with the right meter, the power of poetry has no match. As an intimate form of expression that opens doors to others, poetry enriches the dialogue that catalyzes all human progress and is more necessary than ever in turbulent times. Unquote. These are the lines by Audrey Azoulay, the Director General of UNESCO, because UNESCO first adopted 21st March as the World Poetry Day during its 30th General Conference in Paris in 1999, with the aim of supporting linguistic diversity through poetic expression. Now, when we study English literature also, we hear several poets talking about poetry, singing the praises of poetry, like the most famous quotes by Shelley, who repeatedly we hear. Poetry lifts the veil from the hidden beauty of the world and makes familiar objects be as if they were not familiar. So, in such words, Shelley captures the transformative power of poetry to unveil the extraordinary in the seemingly ordinary. So, as we explore the intricacies of our own existence, poetry becomes our guide, our mentor, revealing the profound beauty that often eludes our distracted gaze. As we navigate the complexities of our modern era, let us heed the call of these literary giants and embrace poetry as our last hope. In the verses of the poem, we may find the wisdom to cut through the stormy seas of life, or the solace to soothe our troubled hearts, or the empathy to bridge the gaps that threaten to divide us each day. So, ladies and gentlemen, today, let's join hands once again to embrace this beautiful literary form, to connect with each other, to connect with the society, and to connect with the universe. With due reverence, I now invite the patron, the chief organizer, the mastermind of innumerable creative ventures and events, a great author and a humanitarian, Dr. Jarnail Singh Anand, President, International Academy of Ethics and Azad Foundation India, for the welcome address. Sir.
Thank you, Dr. Praneet. I hope I am audible.
Yes.
Dear Dr. Rashid Pelpo, the most humanitarian parliamentarian from Ghana and a great poet too. Dr. Maya Herman Sekulik, the great poet from Serbia, US, so close to our hearts. Dr. Basudev Chakrabarti, Chairman, Organizing Committee. Dr. Kalpana Purohit, our keynote speaker today, and our guests of honor, Shri Bhagirath Chaudhary, Shri Arindam Roy, Dr. Lalit Mohan Sharma, Dr. Molly Joseph, and a great array of international poets from lands like Canada, Mexico, Israel, Greece, and Bangladesh. And of course, our friends who are watching the inaugural function. To you all, I owe a great sense of gratitude for sparing your time for this event, which is celebrated every year, mostly like a family function. Although every time some new souls also enter our family. Tomorrow we have almost 35 poets, and on 26th the number is 45. So this time we may be having around 100 poets exchanging their views on poetry and other, basic issues facing the world. I welcome you all and all those who are in attendance today. It is a matter of great privilege that in your presence we are organizing this event, this international event. The series of WPC, World Poetry Conference, started in 2019 with Bathinda. And then every November we have continued with our tradition. Last year we had a phenomenal fourth WPC at Chandigarh with Dr. Maya Harman Sekulik as the chair. This year also it was difficult to hold a physical function because of elections in various states. So we had two choices, either not to hold it at all or go for online. I am reminded of Shakespeare, who in one of his plays says, "It is better to fight with broken arms than with bare hands. It is better to fight with broken arms than with bare hands." So we are, working with our broken arm, and physically there is a lot of difference. In between, from the last year, much water has flowed down the river Morava. Morava is a river in Serbia. We generally say much water has flowed down the Ganges, but I am using the word Morava, and I am referring to Dr. Maya Herman and her Serbian Writers Association, who honored me with Charter of Morava Award, which carried a cash prize of rupees 50,000 also. Moreover, they engraved my name on the Poet's Rock in the heart of Serbia. From this platform, I express my great thanks to the Serbian Writers Association and to our friend Jordana Vlajic, who was very kind when they invited the Indian Embassy to receive the award on my behalf. As I could not make it to Belgrade, I had to abort the trip due to the sudden illness of my wife. It was a great shock for me not to be able to visit Serbia for participating in the 60th Belgrade International Writers Meeting, and I am still recovering from it. During this time, we also established International Academy of Ethics with Dr. Maya Harman Sekulik as its vice president and Dr. Molly Joseph as chief coordinator. We have a number of distinguished scholars on board. We hold occasional panel discussions, and now we are coming up with a handbook of contemporary ethics. While I am thankful to all friends associated with the projects, there are some pockets which need special attention. We are going to felicitate our great friend from Canada, Dr. Raleigh M. James, for his extraordinary commitment to literature and his inspiring work in the field of ethics. We are going to felicitate World Ambassador from Greece, Eva Lino Petropoulou, for her extraordinary work in the field of literature, dissemination, and bringing together the cultural diversity of the globe. She has been an asset to the International Academy of Ethics also. Agran Shelley, the CEO of Great Atonis Poetica, also deserves our felicitation for his great role not only in the publication of the Academy work but also in the creation and dissemination of world literature. Today, we are going to do something different. We want to felicitate another person who happens to be the president of Alumni Association of SCD Government College, Ludhiana. Dr. Randhirji, can you show up Dr. Brijbhushan, Mr. Brijbhushan Goyal? Can we show up?
Okay. Just give me 5 seconds.
Brijbhushan Goyal, please. He is online.
Hello. Hello. Good evening, everyone.
Hello. Brijbhushan ji.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone, sir. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Congrats, sir.
So, he is the man, Brijbhushan Goyal. He is the president of Alumni Association of SD Government College, Ludhiana. This is the college where I graduated in 1977. I am an alumni of this college, and Sahir Ludhianvi was also an alumni of this college. Shri Brijbhushan Goyal, who is a great spirit, has established an alumni library in the college and goes there every day, talks to students, and tries to bring them to the reading table. I donated 32 books of mine. The International Academy of Ethics felicitates Dr. Shri Brijbhushan Goyal for his exemplary work in the field of alumni activities, who needs to be followed by every college alumni body. Randhirji, please let us move forward. This year's highest lifetime achievement award in the field of literature has been given to Dr. Pedapudi Ramarao from Hyderabad. He is an octogenarian and he is 90 years old, retired from Utkal University and now just come back from hospitalization. He is a Fulbright scholar and his doctoral work was on Ernest Hemingway. We honor him for the sagacity and equilibrium of his thought, which is infectious and impacts the restless human soul. We pray he gets well soon. If you can show his certificate, it will be good, Dr. Randhir. We pray he gets well soon, and God willing, we shall present this award to him in person. Now it is time for special mention of some people who have really helped us. Let me start with the Bangladesh poet, Sabi Sachi Nazrul, who is associated with Bangladesh Delhi, the Delhi Global Nation, which has extensively given space to world poetry. I wonder if any newspaper anywhere in the world gives such a vast space to literature, and he deserves a thumb up from all of us. Dr. Molly Joseph, Professor Dheer Gautam, Dr. Puneet Jaggi, Dr. Sandhya Rao K, Dr. Sarita Sharma, Dr. Shobha Sharma, Meenakshi Goswami, Dr. Sheila Banu, Harinder Chima, Dr. Manju Chauhan, Dr. Sushminderjeet Kaur, Dr. Shalini Yadav, all who are helping us in our organization deserve our thanks. The list of our sympathizers and well-wishers is pretty long. So friends, before I conclude, Dr. Praneeth, may I take my time with poetry?
Sure, sir. Sure, please proceed.
Because I will not like to intervene again.
No, eager to hear you.
There is a poem by me, and this poem was written today itself. I don't know. When we write poetry, we do not know many things. So the poem is, why they do not listen to me. Why they do not listen to me. I am a self-possessed man. I am a self-possessed man. Call me the poet. I have behind me the romantic poets. Sometimes I refer to Shakespeare also. Still deeper, I go to Oedipus. It gives me great joy when I say things with similes and metaphors, which make scholars sit at nights to decode the allusions in my poems. I feel happy when two scholars do not agree with what my poem says, and they discover theories which keep fighting like tanks, raging against each other. At the most, my poems are for the elite. Elite means teachers and scholars who need help books to make it easy what I have said in my poetry. When scholars have difficulty in approaching my poems, how can ordinary men react other than just leave the assembly when I hold the mic? My books were given prizes by academies and I also got awards. But I find ordinary men find prose better than my poetry. They are baffled by the similes, metaphors, and oxymorons. Poetry has no meaning in a vacuum. I write about problems of the masses, but alas, they have taste for platform thrillers, not for my poetry. Where is the fault? This is a question for you all. Where is the fault? Isn't it that what I write satisfies literary standards? What I write satisfies literary standards. But in this pursuit of excellence, I lose those who are not so excellent. Simply put, when will these suffering masses come to realize that I am a votary of their issues? And they can, in confidence, converse with me and trust me. So this is the, I think, problem with the poet. He is not the hero of the masses. If masses have any problem, they go to politicians. They don't come to poets. Anyway, I wanted to focus on this. Thank you very much, Dr. Praneeth. I hope I have not overstepped time.
Thank you, sir. I think poets should stop justifying what they are doing and why they are doing so. Well, sir, your poem was an evidence of a graceful reception of the criticism that you get. I think criticism makes us stronger and even more resilient and more determined to write more powerful poetry. So, like I'm reminded here of Frost when he says, poetry is when an emotion has found its thought and the thought has found words. So it is simply a relationship of our thought, emotion, and words which we want to outpour and give it to the society as a service. So I don't think the platforms or justifications are needed to such an extent that we want to answer the critics. The critics are there to boost our health. So thanks to all the members of the audience and the critics. So thank you, sir, for that introductory address. So now moving on to the inaugural function. As the chief guest of the inaugural function of today's conference, we are extremely privileged to have with us a very revered poet and parliamentarian from Ghana, Dr. Rashid Pelpo. Well, he graduated and he did his PhD from the University of Ghana, and he has been a member of parliament 5 times and twice the Minister of State in Ghana. From 2010 to 12, he has been the deputy leader of Ghana's parliament and a member of the Pan-African Parliament in South Africa. He is presently president of the Parliamentarians for Global Action and president of the African Parliamentarian Forum in Population and Development. In Ghana, he was also voted the respected political leader of the decade in 2021. So before he joined politics, he has worked for several years in the public service and later in the private sector and development consultant. So it's a rare combination, sir, being a poet and a politician, a parliamentarian. It's a rare combination. Congratulations for this. Dr. Rashid has also been a recipient of Fantasy B Life Achievement Award in Poetry 2015 and 17 from India, and a Gold Medal for Culture Award from the World Union of Poets 2017 in Italy. I welcome Dr. Rashid Pelpo as the chief guest of our conference today, and I invite you, sir, for your address. Dr. Rashid.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate this recognition, and I'm thankful that I'm invited to this very important program. Poetry is part of my life. poetry is a method by which we communicate our deepest of impressions about the world and about events around us. And as a poet and as a politician, I do combine the aspect of life where you tell it as it is, and in one that you tell it as the political atmosphere determines. And so there is a controversy sometimes about how we communicate ideas. If I go to communicate to a population of people in Ghana, and my party politics or policy determines me to communicate in a certain way, I do so. But when it comes to poetry, I tell it as it is, I tell it from my heart. And so poetry is a special way by which we communicate to the world. And I'm happy that we here as a group of people are thinking alike. We're thinking deep into how we can help save the world, how we can impress on the world, how we can create value in how we write our poetry and how we communicate our ideas. And this conference is great for me because scarcely will you find people of the same thoughts, idea coming together in this manner. And let me thank Dr. Janelle Annan for this invitation and for meeting you all, these wonderful people. It's a great honor that we are here together and I'm able to communicate to you. But let me say that I've so far enjoyed whatever communication is going on here. And as we go along, I wish to state that I'll be happy to respond to any issues that come up. But essentially, I think that one of the things I'm not ashamed to talk about is about things happening around the world. I don't talk about them because I'm religious or I'm a poet, I'm a politician, or I'm an ethnic person, or there's a race issue. No, I talk about them because I know that is the unique truth about life. And so things happening around the world here, you might find me talking about them, is because I believe that in speaking about them, I'll be contributing to the totality of our world peace. And so I think that in coming together, let us not leave this place without stating something emphatic about what we think can make the world better. Because scarcely do you find people of these high thinking points coming together to deliberate about issues. So I thank you so much for this opportunity. And as we are on, I'll be happy again to make another statement. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Well, we expect a poem from you, if you can.
Yeah, would you like to recite a poem or share with us your poetic expressions in some way?
Yes, I'm going to recite a poem about the present circumstance, about wars happening around us. And for me, it is a great, it saddens me as an individual when I see things happening and you don't have direct way of bringing about peace. But indeed, even without peace, without bringing about peace, you can talk about it. So I have this small poem which I would like to read. It is entitled, Why the Wars? The engines of war, a crafty handicraft of man, tears the world, pain turn familiar misery. Why these wars? Which mercies of the Lord makes a meaning without man's own mercies? The tanks keep rolling, breaking bones of escaping men, A crying child begs for air to breathe, bewildered by an unbelievable reality. Bodies strewn like fish, rejected by the sea, some panting to say a last word. Why these wars? Men turn beasts, roaming the world in deadly arms. A cry pierced through the air in silent nemesis. These flying objects in space, like stars, are not for mercies. They are there to take another life. They are there to take another life. Stop these wars. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the great message. Yes, we all want to convey to the world. And here again, I'm reminded of those beautiful words by W.H. Auden, where he says, does poetry make anything happen? And he answered in the negative, no. But then again, it's a serious question that can be addressed even today. Today also, we've gathered here to again delve into the same question. And a few days back, I read a quotation by Czesław Milosz, who's a Polish-American poet and writer. He says, poetry which does not address the destiny of nations is useless. So I was quite impressed by that. The poet cannot be doing things on his own. In fact, he has to address the destiny of the nations, whether it is directly or indirectly. And beautifully said, Sir Dr. Rashid. The lines were very impressive. By these wars, the crafty handicraft of man, beautifully and metaphorically expressed. Thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you for being our chief guest for the day. So moving on, as the keynote speaker of this conference, I now invite our very own Dr. Kalpana Purohit, who's been the professor and dean, Faculty of Arts, Education and Social Sciences, Jai Narayan Vyas University, Jodhpur. She is not just a scholar, but also a critic, a poet, a translator. She has been chairman, Department of English for 3 tenures. She's been member syndicate and director of Center for Women's Studies. With a teaching experience of over 35 years, she's an active researcher, prolifically published 75 papers, 15 books, produced 26 research scholars. Her interest in translation is richly invested in Rajasthani and Hindi literature. She has translated Dharam Yudh drama for Sahitya Academy, New Delhi. Extensively traveled to several countries and participated in national and international seminars. She's also the recipient of the Shastri Award for Women and the Master of Metaphor International Award. We welcome you, ma'am. We are so glad to have you with us, and I invite you for the keynote address. Madam Kalpana Purohit.
Thank you, Perneet, for kind introduction. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So it's good evening from me, distinguished guest Dr. Rashid, and galaxy of poet friends there. I send each one of you my warmest greetings. My sincere gratitude to Dr. Anand for inviting me to be part of this mega academic rendezvous. It's an honor for me today. Well, I always had reservations for online, although I miss, the smiles that reach the eyes and warm hugs of my friends, physically, in fact. Yet the feelings reach me through the voices of love and care of all of you. And as I said, that since it's online, brevity will be my, forte today. So lend me your ears for some minutes here. I'm here to share the rationale of my love with poetry and for poetry. It helps me, comprehend and view relationship with my existence. For me, existence is all about how one engages with the world around him. The moments of distress, anxiety brings me back to the fundamental questions of life like Heidegger did, and it is poetry that supports me with an optimistic vein about how from an annihilation of ashes I can rise and emerge a winner. That's the power of poetry. It holds over me. If I'm a ad here, it saves me from life. In lieu of this emotion, I quote Matthew Arnold, who said, "More and more mankind will discover that we have to turn to poetry to interpret life for us, to console us, to sustain us, and it also presents criticism of life for us." Thus, carving a vision of harmonious relationship between the individual, society, and cosmos. In a world grappling with the chaos, violence, wars, unrest, conflicts, voids of, disconnection, poetry emerges as a beacon of hope, as Perneet mentioned, offering all solace, understanding, peace, and a shared language that transcends borders and barriers. So, its ability to articulate emotion, it fosters empathy, inspires change, preserve our essence, and connect us to the wider universe. Poetry becomes a sacred vessel for the divine light to illuminate the path of the human soul, and that it does for me. It's a bridge between the earthly and the divine, a testament to the enduring hope that guides us towards understanding our shared humanity. These musings serve as a medium to express deepest emotions, fears, and hopes. I remember Sylvia Plath poignantly declared once that I write only because there is a voice within me that will never be still. I provide a space to the human psyche for exploration. The world of letters, music, rhyme opens vistas for me of pursuits of literary expedition in the realms of life, humanity, and the world, which could be distilled in the wisdom of bards in galore, who offered colossal amphora of variegated emotions and experiences. These perfumeries furnish the symphony of life that propels self-reflective ambience wherein one can inhale the essence of life. Poet imbues vitality, transmits visual impressions and panoramas from the terrestrial realm to the ethereal and celestial domains. Wordsworth's definition, I'm not going into detail how he said about what the definition of a poet, that he's a person endowed with a greater, enthusiasm and sensibility than the common person. He has that power. And the historical trajectory, if we see, of poetry spans over 2 millennia, tracing its significance from days from Greeks, Aristotle, Plato, till today, within the realms of human aesthetics, ethics, and spirituality. The profundity of sentiments are articulated through linguistic expressions, and subsequently they are shared with the society. I'm not dwelling on the wonders and magic of figurative language here. We are all aware, and that's what the poetry is. This canvas of mesmerizing articulation, which I'm talking about, it also transcends cultural, linguistic, historical, and societal, boundaries, creating a shared space for diverse voices. And today, when we've gathered globally, this is the proof of what poetry can do to us. What remains in the end is emotions. We share feelings, we share the concerns, we share the emotions. Langston Hughes, in his powerful poem I Too, speaks of the same common human experiences in his poems. Similarly, if we trace the mystic poetry of Kabir, emphasizes the unity of all beings in the divine fabric. And I quote, he says, "In everyone's heart, there is a small space. The saints live there, and they are mirrors. We have to look into those mirrors." Friends, the saying goes, we all grew up with this saying, pen is mightier than the swords. The flowing of words have a power to inspire and become a catalyst for social and political transformation and can serve as a timeless archive for generations. Poets make jealous efforts to bring about soul-searching sentiments engraved with hard-hitting, thought-provoking questions like a clarion call to save humanity, which is the need of the day or are today. Excellent corrective to human follies by presenting a mirror to the vagaries of human behavior. Thereby, when we see the consequences, or consequently, it liberates the souls and offers enthralling experiences there. Wordsworth captures this exuberant expression of tranquil restoration of the human spirit in his Tintern Abbey. It expresses this connection which professes the experience of being alive through poetry. I repeat, the experience of being alive through poetry. At this juncture, I'm also reminded of Wordsworth's another poetry, the I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud, which connects humanity with nature. To make life more meaningful, the natural world provides bliss. The poet obtains happiness from the dancing daffodils and overcomes his loneliness. This poem propagates an idea of happiness and rekindles the memory through inward eye, which enables the poet to dispel the emotions in a cathartic way. There is a catharsis which poem offers to us. The experiences are well connected with the magnificence of pure delight of imagination, as Coleridge professed, or what Campbell also calls the experience of wonder, an experience of rapture, or should I say, the sublime experience. The experience of being alive in the sublimity, available to anyone and everyone on this earth by gazing the skies in the night. The romantic moment which we talk in literature was a response to enlightenment. It was to remind that sense of wonder and happiness plays a vital role to human beings, encapsulated the interactions with nature, and poetry offers that to us, that happiness, that delight. Human values are embedded that can be absorbed and procured. And best example, as Parneet was talking about Robert Frost, I'd like to cite The Road Not Taken, just one or two lines here. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood. Now, this expression conveys aesthetic value, observation of nature, and his delight in the color. Sorry, I could not travel both denotes apologizing values. Similarly, you have another poem, Stopping by Woods on Snowy Evening, that is reminded. Often there are lines quoted from that. But I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. These poems are replete with profound wisdom. Sir Aurobindo wrote that poetry is not a technique, but a discovery or the expression of the self. By engaging in quest for self through the magnificence of words that marvels us, or the exquisite colors that awakens our souls. Human beings are best creation, friends of the God, and we have to gain freedom. Freedom from cages of greed, violence, etc., prejudices. There are Sufi poets from Arabia, Persia, Indian subcontinent who saw individual, not as Freudian ego, that is self, or the solitary I, but as the substance of the universe. To quote from Ashtavakra Gita, I quote here, look closely at cloth and you see only the threads. Look closely at creation and you only see self. And that he talks of perception. Enlarge your consciousness and perception. Widen the perceptions. Rumi looked, we all know about Rumi, a Sufi poet, looked for replenishment, and he said, by Allah, I long to escape the prison of ego and lose myself among deserts and mountains. He discovered his self and sensed the same presence of the self in others too. The believer, he said, is the mirror of the believer. Why are we turning our face from that mirror? Why don't we rip off that grudge and hate that darkens humanity and throw away them from heart? Dissolution of the self and not its assertion is the foundation of the philosophical poetic portrayal. William Wordsworth too envisages in, an all-pervading radiance of the supreme presence on the earth, a spirit that impels all thinking things. Tagore too expresses his yearnings to be one with his creator in Gitanjali. He feels that his existence is inseparable from Tao and the aura of grandeur that accompanies that relationship. And he rejoices. He rejoices in the same stream of life that runs through my veins, he says, night and day, runs through the same world and dances in the rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth, and so on. These lines embodies Tagore's ideas of love manifested in abundance in the divine communion of man and God, thereby imbued a sense of wholeness and uplifts the soul. Amidst tears, one appreciates beauty. For beauty is truth, and truth beauty, we know Keats said that. His lyrical measures sing the glory of oneness with the divine when he says the holy stream of thy music breaks through all stormy obstacles and rushes on. We all remember, friends, that poetry is the breadth and final spirit of all knowledge. Let's acknowledge that. And it has to perform higher destinies in our lives. Therefore, remember, nature did never betray the heart that loved her. So, fill your papers with the breathing of your heart and save this world by spreading love. All of us have a responsibility to this society. Thank you so much. Hope I could make my point clearly in brief and set a tone. Maybe, it was kind of a curtain raiser for other poets to follow. Thank you so much for your patient hearing, and God bless. Parneet, I hope I kept to the time.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. In fact, I have all appreciation for you because I have no words but only silent appreciation on
you.
how you have encapsulated a vast, vast theme in a brief capsule form. I know it's very tough, but you've done, and that too quoting some immortal lines from English classic poems. And when you said not wondering on the figurative language, but sharing the concerns and emotions, being alive through poetry, catharsis is offered through poetry, and sublimity is offered through poetry. So that makes it all. That gives us the rhythm and the motivation to make poetry, to create poetry, to live poetry, and to offer poetry to the society. Thank you for being the keynote speaker. Thank you for the keynote address, ma'am.
It was an
Yes,
honor
so
and a
glad.
pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, so glad to have you. So moving on, our guest of honor for today's inaugural function is Dr. Maya Herman Sekulic, who is an internationally acclaimed and published Serbian-American author of 24 books in Serbian, English, Italian, German, and French, and her poems have been translated in 27 languages. Of her poetry, Nobel laureate Joseph Brodsky said her poetry is of the rarest talent and beauty, as she is herself. I congratulate her for that. Maya is an acclaimed and award-nominated poet, novelist, essayist, bilingual scholar, and a translator. She's also the vice president of the International Academy of Ethics and the UN World Literary Forum. She's the International Ambassador of Peace. In the last 6 years, she's been awarded 22 international literary awards in US, Italy, India, Turkey, Russia, Romania, and the first Serbian Oscar for popularity. She's also a member of the American and Serbian PEN, American Academy of Poets, Association of Writers of Serbia, and Serbian Literary Society. I welcome you, ma'am, and I invite you, Dr. Maya, for your words of wisdom. Dr. Maya.
Hi, Parneet. Thank you for this beautiful introduction. I'm very glad to be here at the 5th World poetry conference. I remember first time I came to India to another conference, actually, World Poetry Congress, and Dr. Anand kindly invited me and lured me to come to Punjab, to Bantida, and to attend his conference, and that is now part of history, because since then, not only that I attended again in Chandigarh, but I also developed this most amazing friendship and collaboration, fruitful collaboration with Dr. Anand. I also want to welcome all my friends here. There are too many to mention by name. I just send you my love and wish you all success. I would like to go back few weeks to Belgrade International Conference, where 60th annual conference, where Dr. Anand was being honored more than any other foreign poet and writer, and was his name was engraved in the heart of Serbia in on a stone poet rock, so called. Unfortunately, he did not attend, but his spirit was there, and hopefully he will come very soon and see the love that he has in Belgrade for himself. I am also talking now in the name of my dear friend Gordana Vlajic, Vice President of the Association of Writers of Serbia, of which I'm also a member, who also facilitated his visit and the honors bestowed on Dr. Jernail Anand in Belgrade during this international conference. Then there are so many things I would like to mention here, but as we are supposed to be brief, and I think that everybody should keep that in mind, because there are many people here and many great poets. I would just like to continue along the lines of the previous distinguished speakers, and say that we are all interconnected, and that we all as poets should really strive for peace on this earth. Therefore, I will read my latest poem, which title "Love is All We Need" speaks in itself, and it was beautifully translated into Hebrew recently, and will be published in an anthology by an eminent Israeli poet, Shoshana Veik, who is one of the guests I invited from Israel. I also want to welcome especially my friends, 3 poets from Israel, because of the present tragedy that is going on there. So to make it brief, I will just read my poem in slightly abbreviated version, and it was published today in a leading daily paper in Belgrade. Okay, so love is all we need, as the Beatles said. As I was contemplating the nature of war, the war in Israel, the apocalyptic horror, and Hedwana, the first poet, appeared in full priestess regalia, she sang to me in a high-pitched voice the first anti-war song. There is blood rushing down a mountain, spirit of hate, greed, and anger, dominator of heaven and earth. It is that time again, she warned. In your upside down world, innocents are thrown to hell while evil ones are sent to heaven and dominate them. The end of the world is near. Time of many wars, time of threats and deaths, but to survive is better than being buried alive. I then responded to her, "Oh, patroness of moon, the moon we all share. Oh, the priestess of nature, protector of the dead and children. Spirit of hate, greed, and anger is once again dominator of heaven and earth. Avenge all children, avenge the dead. Use your power, use your throne, throw your moon disk with cow's horns. Make the terrorists climb the sycamores. Make the soldiers stop attacks on civilians. Tell your sacred owls who wait at your feet to teach all ignorance, all sides involved, not to hate. Use your poet's word to conquer the sword. Make all evil disappear. Say, love is all we need. The world is desperate for peace." Thank you. Okay, that is all.
Thank you, Dr. Maya. Thank you. Love is all we need. Your concern for humanity is greatly appreciated, and this is what we have gathered here for. Thank you indeed. Thank you so much. Moving on to the next session for the world premiere of books, I now request Dr. Anand, and I congratulate him that with the release of these books today, the 5 books that we are releasing today, now he is the writer of 155 books. A big hand for Dr. Jarnail Singh Anand. I congratulate you, sir. And should I name the books?
Yeah.
So you have the books to display?
Yeah, with me.
Yeah. So the first book in the series is The Best Poetry of Dr. Jarnail Singh Anand, an offering in translation.
I wish to say that this poetry book is edited by Dr. Maya Herman Sekulik, and this was to be released in Belgrade. Dr. Maya, this is the book which we were to release there. Most of the poems are in Serbian, translated in Serbian and in other languages also. I would I simply like to name some of the poets who translated: Melita Retsovic, Maya Milojovic, Franca Colazo, Alicia Mashia, Zbigniew Roth, Dr. Tamali Nyogi, she translated in Bengali, Yongbo Ma in Chinese, and Mr. Byong Cheol Kang in Korea, Trane Turan Rahmili in Azerbaijan, and Rosalia in Bulgaria. So this was a small book. Then
we have a few translators here with us in this session. Congratulations to all of them. We have Franca, we have Tamali, we have a few contributors here. Congrats to all of you. Moving on to the next. Should I move on?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, the second book is The Imperfect Artist. So here it is. Congratulations once again.
Thank you so much. In this, Dr. Tamali has written something, a blurb, and our friend Kenny Drisdale from Canada. Kenny Drisdale from Canada. He has written forward. Thank you very much. Please, next over to next book.
The third book in the series is The Silt of Sin. The Silt of Sin.
The Silt of Sin. Its foreword has been written by our great friend, the CEO of Prodigy, Mr. Zlatan Tamurovic. You can see his photograph here. I am thankful to him for reading this book and writing his words about it. Go on.
The fourth book is Prometheus Rebound. So this is a kind of a rewriting of Shelley.
And the surprising thing is, its foreword was written by Iralia Umutkan Polotovna, Kyrgyzstan. Umute.
Congratulations, congratulations.
So much. And the last book.
The fifth book is The Island of Limited Joy.
The Island
Beautiful
of Joy.
Collection of poems.
And I think Dr. Praneeth can say one or two lines about it.
Yeah, congratulations to me also. I can say this.
She wrote it
congratulating me because I read the book, The Island of Limited Joy. So I was eager to find how come the joy is limited on Dr. Anand's island. And I found out. So I wrote the foreword. How could he find limited joy on his own island? Because the poet is full of joy. It's a beautiful collection of poems. Once again, I insist all of you must read it.
So, Dr. Praneeth, where is your book? Please.
Yes, sir. The title of my book is The Sun in My Palm.
Wow.
The Sun in My Palm.
Yeah, congratulations.
Collected by me. I don't claim I've written because I don't know when things were written, when they poured out. So I just compiled and collected and just gave it a shape. The Sun in My Palm. It is symbolic again. The title kind of encapsulates the radiant core of what lies within. It has multiple layers of meanings, like the sun is grandeur and the cosmic power it has, and beyond the earthly grasp. Yet,
congrats to both of you for releasing a beautiful.
Thank you. So for me, poetry is like a miniature sun, a source of energy, a source of illumination within our reach. So it is for us like a sun in our palm. In the palm of our hands, we have the capacity to create and experience different worlds, emotions, epiphanies, and experiences. So that's it. Thank you so much.
I also convey my cordial felicitations, Dr. Praneeth Jaggi and Dr. J.S. Anandji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Please move on, Dr. Praneeth.
Yeah, so we move on to the next and final session of today's conference, and that is the International Poetry Conclave. We have 4 guests of honors with us. We are so privileged to have you all who would be delving on the theme and also reciting their poetry. And later, we also have 9 participating poets in the session who are stalwarts in their creative field, and they would be rendering 2 short poems each in their slots. So first of all, in this poetry conclave, I invite our very honorable Shri Bhagirath Chaudhary ji who is an internationally acknowledged poet, writer, philanthropist, social activist, a humanist, a global activist. Bhagirath Chaudhary sir, I invite you for the rendition of your poems. We would be giving a slot of 3 to 4 minutes to each poet or each speaker to honor all the other poets who are there in the session, so that nobody is left out and we give due credit and space and time to all our speakers. So thank you and welcome, Doctor.
I was given
Welcome,
5 minutes, so let me just do what I can do.
So a little louder so that we could hear you clearly. A little more.
Okay. Am I audible now?
You are audible, but a little
Exactly.
louder could do wonders because that would be more clear.
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah, that's
Good
good.
evening and good morning, my dear friends. Warm greetings from New Delhi, India to you.
Good evening.
I'm extremely grateful to Dr. Janelle Singh Anand and his team, World Poetry Conference 5, for granting me the opportunity to deliver a brief message and recite a poem as well. Dear friends, the humanity is facing a very short time because of global moral collapse, which is fuel fire of acceptable greed, lust, and sadistic tendencies of the core of the human being is the cause of global violence, vendetta, wars, and rampant human suffering all around us today. Therefore, we, the poets of the world, must make a promise to ourselves that we will write poetry highlighting the positive humanistic ethics and values in order to usher in an era of the global poetic activism for nurturing the perpetual peace, progress, and prosperity for one and all upon earth. Thanks. And now, my poem titled A Ladder to Heaven. To jump higher, you must have earth under you as a solid base. To ascend the evolutionary heaven, you must build a strong staircase. For momentary memory to eternal memory, from explicate order to implicate order, you need to evolve to ascend, to go back. To original base, you must have a strong staircase. Man concluded by discriminatory vision, empowered by logic and reason, it is the love and the compassion which creates the eternal human nation. A divine humanitarian attribute calls for inclusive, loving attitude as you expand your loving vision, including more and more people and creation, in your loving emotion, ever expanding your circle of compassion. To strengthen the human claim, to build the ladder for climbing to heaven, to fashion each step of the ladder, man must subscribe progressively for eternity's sake the divine humanitarian attributes required for each step. Man must subscribe progressively for eternity's sake the divine humanitarian attributes for each step, committed intention with cosmic revolution of universal goodwill and universal welfare must become twin poles of family ladder. The divine attribute of universal empathetic attitude, man must take the first step for human claim to the heavenly stack. Empathy invites all her brethren to join for building steps leading to heaven. Gender equality brings all inclusive universal equality. Honestly, it brings with her universal justice. Non-violence brings under her wings right to happiness for all the sentient beings truthfulness brings her sweet vision, everyone's claim to love and compassion. Equanimity brings her twin sisters universal peace and prosperity, to thwart and discourage the dishonest tricks and crooked machinations at high altitudes, to avoid any air pockets, any chaos and tribulations. Be steadfast of your moral sentiment, empowered with do and die commitment to follow no other karma, but ever be steadfast on the path of only true ethical dharma. Behold, my brethren, you must earn your personal heaven. The heaven is available on a ready platter. Yes, be a humanitarian scout to build step by step heaven within and without and our heavenly ladder. Thanks all. That's all. Thank you very much, Pranitji. Thanks.
Thank you, Bhagirath sir. That was indeed nice. You rightly said we need to promise ourselves that is what is urgently needed, and we surely need a ladder to heaven. So thank you so much for joining us. Next in the session, I invite Dr. Lalit Mohan Sharma, a bilingual poet, author, and translator. 10 books of poetry have already been published, and the latest being A Little Fire and Patal Se Prangan Tak. He's been active in all our conferences and all our events. He's been anthologized in several books of poetry, short stories, and academic interests. And we find him engaging, always actively participating, and he's an excellent critic. So welcome you, sir. Over to you. The stage is all yours. Lalit Mohan, sir.
Thank you. I just recite the poem or something else I have to say?
Yeah, 3 minutes, whatever you want to do.
You said 5 minutes.
You have, sir, we have to cut it short because of the paucity of time.
Okay, that's
so,
right.
But I think we can have you any day again. Tomorrow, maybe day after, maybe every day. So today we could cut it short to 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll just recite one poem then. Insufferable. 3 minutes, maybe right. 2 I'll manage. Insufferable is the title. Violence of war, regular as irregular cough. Violence of war, regular as irregular cough, is bent on wrecking the body politic, reporting the inflation rates, the dead and the displaced, the maimed and marooned, women, children, old men. Away from the rubble and debris, away from the rubble and debris, away from crying kids, tore limbs, away from the blood and the smoke, beat voice of Tel Aviv and war zones of Kiev, everything justified, everything permitted. Stepping aside to peacetime games of business and manufacturing arms, nobler instinct of men turns to raise world-class war memorials and museums to mourn and to glorify soldiers, the votaries and victims of an insufferable violence of war. Then another poem. Okay, right. Now is the time. Now is the time. After days, months, years are spent. After days, months, years are spent. After the dreams and a long sleep. After midway you choose to decide and abandon the book being written. After the morning has called you in the afternoon siesta of a lifetime. After the morning has called you in the afternoon siesta of a lifetime. After the sunbeams begin to shoot and your eyes the source of sunshine. Come unfurl your feelings. Come unfurl your feelings as you gather your mind like a gentle bun of your hair. You tickle the earring with fingertips. You tickle the earring with fingertips, thinking of what secrets I may reveal. Monsoon has waited longer than you. Monsoon has waited longer than you. Why talk of its visit on another time? Now is the time to get drenched in waters of creative affections, blooming as a lotus without being wet or blamed with muddy intent. Morning looks at you like a maiden. Morning looks at you like a maiden ready to offer her soulful affection. Let us, two of us, play and practice. Let us, two of us, play and practice the alphabet of love in daily living. Let us, two of us, play and practice the alphabet of love in daily living. Is it all? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. That was brilliant enough. I think we would not like an overdose because this was quite a sufficient dose, and I would appreciate how you have.
I
would appreciate how you have used alliteration in a staunchly empirical and realistic poem on wars, insufferable.
Yes.
And using figures of speech in such poems is just deadly. I mean, sometimes you cannot make sense out of it, but you're using beautiful similes, and now is the time. I really appreciate your style as well as the content you're throwing at the audience.
They're, madam, giving us these number of deaths or whatever, as if they're telling inflation rates only. Prices have risen high or gone low, and all. The share market.
It's just data. It is just data.
It's terrible.
For them it is, for them it's data. Thank you for that perspective, sir, and thank you for joining us and for being with us always. You've stood by us, by the Academy always. Thank you so much. Next in the series, I invite another guest of honor who's been with us over the years, Arindam Roy, sir. I welcome you. Having over 40 years of experience in various newsrooms of renowned media houses, he is the founder and publishing director of and editor-in-chief of Different Truths and Kavyakuma Publishing Consultant. He's co-authored 10 chapters in 6 profitable books, and he's also the author of 2 forthcoming. He's published 5 international poetry anthologies, and he's also authored a novel, Rivers Run Back, with an American writer. He stays in Bangalore and Prayag. I welcome you, sir, and I'm so glad to have you, so honored to have you in the panel.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible, Parneet?
Yes, sir, very clearly.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll keep my speech very brief. And I thank Jarnail ji and all of the friends. Because of paucity of time, I'm not taking everybody's name, but all of you are included. So I was asked to speak on poetry, the last hope of humanity. So, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed poets, scholars, and language enthusiasts, I'm honored to present today the topic, Poetry, the Last Hope of Humanity. It invites us to explore the crucial role poetry plays in a modern world, especially in the face of significant challenges. The enduring power of poetry in contemporary times. Poetry stands as an unwavering guide in the tumultuous symphony of modern existence, where technological advancement often isolate us from our shared humanity. It serves as an illuminating beacon, helping individuals rediscover their common essence amid the abundance of information. Tagore's insights emphasize poetry's resilience in transcending contemporary diversions, serving as a testament to a collective human nature. In the accelerating pace of life, poetry becomes a refuge for introspection and connection, unveiling the complexities of existence through verses and rhythmic cadence. Tagore's wisdom underscores poetry's perpetual significance, offering solace, motivation, and a profound link to our shared human race. Peace in the shadows of war, poetry as a protest. Amid global conflicts, poets wield their words as a powerful protest for peace. Examining the Russian Ukraine and the Israel Gaza conflict and other wars and conflicts, poets articulate the human cost of war, challenging narratives that perpetuate violence. Poetry, with its ability to distill complex emotions, serves as a vessel for empathy, inviting readers to connect with the universal thread of humanity that binds us all. These poetic protests not only decry specific conflicts but also call for a collective awakening against the normalization of violence. Poetry becomes a timeless and reflective medium, urging individuals to question, empathize, and seek pathways to peace. Essence of poetry. What is the essence of poetry? Poetry, as the supreme stronghold of human ambitions, captures the inexpressible, filters complex emotions, and shares the subtleties of human experience. Drawing on the wisdom of W.B. Yeats, poetry transcends language limitations, exploring the depths of human consciousness. Its timeless character resonates across cultures and eras, serving as a repository of accumulated human knowledge. Recognizing poetry as humanity's last hope exalts its capacity to extract the elusive, express the intricate, and reveal universal truths. Poetry becomes a sanctuary where the human spirit finds solace, reflecting the enduring strength of language. Poetry as a catalyst for unity. Amid global divisions, poetry emerges as an influential, cohesive force connecting diverse human experiences. Modern poets' insight highlights poetry's ability to address common weaknesses and ambitions transcending geographical boundaries. Legacy of poetic insight and timeless wisdom. Renowned poets like Rumi, Shakespeare, and Neruda contribute significantly, their verses transcending boundaries and withstanding the test of time. Poetry serves as a robust repository, safeguarding collective narratives and immortalizing the complex intricacies of human existence. Their works offer consolation, enlightenment, and a deepening sense of unity with eternal truths, harnessing the transformative power of poetry in times of crisis. Amid environmental issues, political turmoil, and social inequalities, poetry becomes a transformative tool, touching our consciousness and awakening our sensibilities. Its evocative metaphors stimulate introspection, compelling individuals to reassess perspectives and envision a transformed world characterized by justice and compassion. Exploring Sri Aurobindo Ghosh's theory of supreme intellect. In the era of concise communication, Sri Aurobindo Ghosh's theory delves into the profound, advocating for a deeper comprehension of existence. Poetry, according to Aurobindo, connects the supreme intellect, urging us to savor each syllable and value the meaning between the lines. His theory challenges the notion that clarity is solely achieved through succinct expressions, emphasizing language's power to access cosmic wisdom. And here's what I conclude. As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, poetry stands as a navigational compass, reflecting the intricate nuances of a collective consciousness. It represents the last bastion of hope, adapting and evolving to resonate with the essence of human In words of Mary Oliver, poetry should be comprehended with clarity and intention. Let us embark on this poetic expedition united, equipped with a steadfast conviction that the future of humanity resides within the domain of poetry. I'll just recite two stanzas of my poem which I wrote today, and this is also on the topic on which I'm talking, poetry, the last hope of humanity. Just the last two stanzas. It's a rhyming stanza. In the poems we find solace and healing, a balm of wounds, a heart's revealing, the power to mend, to bridge divides, in words crafted by souls who abide. Let us cherish this beacon of light, this refuge held in our darkest night, for poetry shall endure, forever cope, the lost hope of humanity's resilient hope. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was brilliant, Arindam Roy, sir.
Well, can I just 1 minute have?
Sure, sir.
Just
Sure,
1 minute.
please.
I think someday we could have a panel discussion on that order line, poetry makes nothing happen. That line. Okay, of course, we had a beautiful statement by Mr. Arindam, and earlier Kalpana Purohit, I think she struck many keys in her speech. And I believe in poets like Faz or Dushyant, even Pash with that half a line if we quote, कि सब तो खतरनाक होता सपने में मर जाना. This half a line can really stir, and I mean, you can imagine how the human conscience is stirred. Or even to watch King Rex on the stage can lead to so many convulsions and maybe conflicts and reconciliations as such. So poetry does make happen. It doesn't have to go and stop Hitler from doing something or Israel as such. But poetry does make a lot of happen. We can have a whole discussion on this in some panel.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Changing the mind means changing the nation, changing the society. So transformation starts with one's own minds. Thank you, sir. Arindam Roy, sir, after a fascinating feast of Lalit Mohan Sharma sir's poems, we've had those beautiful ideas from you. But sir, I must admit here, we all appreciate you as a journalist and your platform, Different Truths, as a powerful tool which promotes poetry. That is the job you could best do, and we highly appreciate, because Different Truths magazine is no less than an encyclopedia of poems of today's world. So hats off to you, sir. You're doing the right job. Thank you so much for joining us. So next in this session, we have as the guest of honor, Dr. Molly Joseph, a doctorate in post-war American poetry. Now, since we are talking of war, and war, she's already a doctorate in post-war American poetry, retired as the head of the Department of English, Xavier's College, Kerala. She writes lots of poetry, storybooks for children, short stories, travelogues. She's a translator, reviewer. She's already published 21 books, and she's associated with us, the International Academy of Ethics, as the chief coordinator. I welcome you, ma'am, and I invite you for your poems. Molly, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Parneet, for the kind introduction. Esteemed audience of this reputed World Poetry Conference, pranams, Dr. Jarnail, the mastermind behind. For paucity of time, I just land on to the crux of the matter. The quote from Maya Angelou resonates in me. Be the rainbow in someone's clouds. Be the rainbow. Dear, as poets, are we not doing that? Especially in these cloudy times. My effort as a poet, some people say postmodern poet, whatever. I deal with the direct treatment of the thing. Because these days, cocooned in their own self-centered cyber walls and all, you preferably keep things unnoticed. So as a poet, I want to bring the rubbing, cutting edge of reality. Here goes my first poem. The arid plains. The arid plains of an aftermath. Piled up dust and debris. Survived lives, desperate, scrambling for their beloveds under the smashed buildings that fell with a thud. Searching for those worlds that lit up their lives. The mutilated, wounded, battling for life. No, even the ambulance that carried them ambushed. When will this war end? Vengeance end. Death was kind to take away many, but what of those left to live a wretched life in cauldrons of loss, pain, misery? What gain this was, save dogged pursuance of violence, couched in concocted jargons. Violence is violence anywhere, every time. When you destroy life, its sweet significance on earth, it catapults back in resilience irresistible against the perpetrators. Vengeance breeding vengeance. Has it even brought any good for mankind? We hate Hitlers and those self-acclaimed champions, exponents of greed-driven dominance. Is this maddening killing game? In this maddening killing game, who listens? Minds are arid, brazen grounds, toxin to the core. Who can detoxify these sick hearts into sanity? Their efforts at polluting, splitting up the world, our otherwise sweet, short lives, to be embroidered with designs delicate, merging with each on multiple hues of love, acceptance. Another short one. I think I haven't stolen much time, have I? One short one. The zigzag curve of life, fringed on expectations, flounders over mighty rocky crags, at times rolls down into crevices that yawn with open-mouthed despair. Still, with unperturbed peace of mind, I watch the sky that scaffolds above, smiling with stars. The lofty mountain tops beckon. I need scramble up with hopes buoyant. The tree tops soaking in peace, like manna, peace drips down from above. The birds sharing the joy. Life, this daily miracle of life is precious. We need celebrate. Why fret over the dust? The dust has a way of settling down in the scheme of things. Patience, acceptance, unhurried allowance given to all, with hearts open, baptized on love, kindness. Let my mind grow coextensive with the world that spreads. I sense the language of all, flora, fauna, man, animal. Ha! There is peace, peace of mind, infinite. Thank you, dears. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Molly. That was indeed a display of the pain and pathos that a poetic soul carries within itself. Yes, and here I'm reminded of T.S. Eliot's words where he says, I will show you fear in a handful of dust. So brilliantly recited. Thank you so much for being with us. Moving on to the next category of our invited poets who are coming from different parts of the world. We are so glad and honored to have 9 poets, all from different regions, different locales of the globe. In the very first place, I invite Mr. Raleigh and James from Canada. We've been great friends, great listeners to each other, and Raleigh's perspective is rooted in the belief that he's a student of life and life is a teacher always for him. He is a leadership and spiritual coach, an advocate of the human spirit, and a storyteller through his poetry. He's also committed to doing his part through his poetry platforms in uplifting the human consciousness through the power of love, justice, and empathy. I invite you, Mr. Raleigh, for this recitation of your poems, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Dr. Praneet, and to the gathered scholars and poets. I am a humble servant of our humanity. I'm honored to be here, and thank you, Dr. Janelle, for inviting me to be a part of this and to be able to speak with such learned people. I am but a humble servant of our humanity. I'm a layman. I choose to walk a simple life and to walk a simple path. And as a poet, and being that this is about poets and our role in our society, I can't speak to that because that's me trying to tell you what I think you as a poet should do. So I just speak from my example of, I try to use poetry to bring a sense of balance to understanding the world we live in. Because I live in a world of contrast, of duality, and I truly believe one cannot know light without dark. And at times we get bogged down in the harshness of life and forget that even in the harshest of life, good and beauty still exist. They go simultaneously and not one without the other. And right now in this world, we definitely are in the harshness, the discomfort of life. But it's that discomfort that brings about transformative change. And that's what I've learned, not just from my own personal life, from history. So as I'm listening to all these beautiful words, I wrote this thought that I will turn into a poem. But the unexamined life is not a life worth living, said Socrates. But my examined life is a process of growth, to which my trials and tribulations serves. But what I know is not all there is to know. And what I know is just the tip of the iceberg. For at this stage, my time dances with the reaper as I walk in step with love and fear. I accept the ignorance of what I know, the ignorance of my way, to let wisdom be as it may. So that's what I just wrote. And that's what I took away so far from listening. This thought came to me. So you just got a blast of a poem that I consider that it just came as a thought. I haven't worked on it yet. But I'll share a couple before I do leave. And before I do, I just want to remind us all to, in order for us to really, I believe, again, this is just my truth, in order for us to truly embrace the outer world, we must be good with the inner world. Are you good with yourself, with who you are, beyond this meat suit that we walk around in? This meat suit that I walk around in is named Raul. The I am, the spirit, the love, whatever you want to call it, God, Nirvana, whatever. That, what resonates within, that cannot be explained. That is what I follow, what I listen to. That vibrates throughout everything. I see the divine in all eyes. I am not here seeking to have a spiritual experience. Everything we do is spiritual because we are spirit, here having this physical understanding of life. So I'll share this poem. It's called We Fight for Peace. In the times that we're living, and with all the conflicts on the planet right now, we're fighting for peace. We fight for peace with closed minds, guarded hearts, conditioned love, belligerent thoughts. We fight for peace with violent behaviors, trade embargoes, unauthorized wars, one-sided laws. We fight for peace with greed as right, eroding soil, polluted air, bloated bellies. We fight for peace with arrogant doctrines, suppressed rights, devalued history, misinformation. We fight for peace with religious arrogance, political correctness, voices suppressed, the moral high ground, while riding life's insanity with guns, bullets, bombs. Peace, peace, peace. I want me some peace. We fight for peace. It's not an oxymoron. Peace is a child of conflict, for peace and war are soulmates. But peace is also open space, the beautiful silence. It is the laughter of children, the gentle sway of trees. It's our complex nature. It is the air we breathe, the earth we walk, the water we drink. We fight for peace, as every day is a fight with yourself and with the repetitiveness of life. If we must fight, let us fight for understanding and growth, to let our human splendor shine. Are we ready to fight for peace like Buddha, Yeshua, Harriet Tubman, Leo Tolstoy, Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, Stephen Biko, Nelson Mandela, Desmond Tutu? Peace is me. Peace is you. Peace is us. Peace, peace, peace. I want me some peace. I thank you all, my esteemed friends. Blessings for your continued adventure. Thank you for this invitation.
Thank you, Ronit. That was indeed impressive and fascinating. Yes, truly we fight for peace. And in the similar vein, when I read Maya Angelou, she said, we write for the same reason that we walk, talk, climb mountains, or swim the oceans. We have something to say. So poetry is our inherent nature. Peace is our inherent quality. And so because we want peace, poetry becomes the vessel through which we communicate the ineffable, the unsaid, the sublime aspects of our existence. Thank you so much for joining us. You're always a delight. Thank you for being with us. So moving on, I now invite our poet from US. I hope I sound correct while pronouncing it. Zlatan Demirovic. Zlatan Demirovic, if the poet is hearing me, a bilingual writer, a novelist, a critic, a poet, a trilingual translator, writing in English, Czech, Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian, the founder of Prodigy Life Academy, Prodigy Published, and Prodigy Magazine, USA. Do we have Demirovic here online? Please unmute yourself and mark your presence. Okay, we'll come back to the poet once again if we have her online. Next, we move on to the author, Edwin M. Cordivilla from Philippines. As a poet and a journalist, Cordivilla received the Outstanding Alumni Award for Literature and Journalism from the Far Eastern University in 2004. Cordivilla is the author of 6 books, and his most celebrated poetry book, 10,000 Lines, is a long poem that surpasses even the English epic Beowulf by 3 times its length. It is also the longest poem ever written by a Filipino in a record time of 2 years. So the book was featured and televised in national media. So congratulations, Cordivilla from Philippines. I invite you to join us with your poetry. Yeah, welcome to the session. Please unmute yourself and maybe have your recitation. Please unmute.
Thank you, Dr. Permit Jaggi. Thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Welcome.
And thank you for my dear friend, longtime friend, Dr. Janelle Anand, for inviting me here. It's an honor to be here with these venerable poets. I believe I want to reduce. Well, I thought it was 7 minutes, but Dr. Dr. Jaggi mentioned 4 minutes. So while the other poets were speaking, were delivering their poems, I tried to edit the poems that I will be reading tonight into 4 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, because it would be a regard to the other poets.
Yeah, for the other poets.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
And just go straight to the poem. It's entitled After the Dream. After the dream, when everything has been said and done, the pain felt and related to the reader. Would I be better? Would I be a better man? Could I insist that this particular theory is right and the other wrong? Would I be believed? Would I be believed if I say I did not know how to start this poem? Never really have started writing this poem about you and me, which is also about the word, which is also about peace, that I have always contemplated, prayed and contemplated to write this poem. Tried to imagine the start, tried even harder to imagine the life I would be into. If ever should I start writing the poem, would I be better? Would I be a better man with enough bread to feed the clan, with enough bread and joy to last me 2 lifetimes? That's why I'm most afraid to start, most afraid to even sense the right words that would have me starting. For after writing those words and reading them and rereading them and rereading them still, I know life would be different. I know something would change, or everything would change. Would I see the sunrise the same way as before? Would I still enjoy the song on the radio? Would I be a better man or far removed from my comfort? Would I still enjoy the movies, the cafes? Would you still love me? After the bearing of the soul, after reading to you the stanzas, after the joy you would have witnessed in me while reading, would you still feel love or fear? Fear for the future, fear of what would I become, fear of what we would become. So I imagine the words, imagine them forming, imagine writing them and smiling as I write, or try to feel the pain I would be feeling if I write. If I really write the words I previously imagined, would I please you? Would I ever please you? But here I am in one corner of the world, afraid to even jot down the words, most afraid of what words would make me into, what price to pay to write the words I have imagined, what previous price to pay. Should I even write? Should I even imagine the words? Could I even handle the dream? Lights in, lights out, the world outside humming the motor melody, machines working at this very hour, machines as big as a building and as small as a molecule. Would it matter? Would it really matter if I just don't write the words I've imagined? Would it matter if I don't even start imagining the words? Would it really matter if I just leave the notebook open without a single word written on it? What if I just sit down and watch the whole of civilization from my corner? I guess it wouldn't matter at all. I do enjoy the cafes, the conversations. I do enjoy reading you a poem or two. I enjoy summers and the rain. I enjoy the sunshine and the darkness as well. I enjoy your epics as I enjoy feeding the turtles. I enjoy the moon tangled with your hair. Oh, should I just buy a newspaper and make it a space between you and me? Analyze the events, see the world from a distance, calculate the risks in the stock market, make a comment or two about current affairs, or write a suggestion to the president. Would it matter? Would it matter at all? Oh, I should stand and keep the house in order while the people are still fast asleep and dreaming. Make peace with myself and the world. Then write long poems about love, life, and peace. Write long lines about pain and sorrow and misery. Write long lines about joy and caring and sharing. Oh, they should matter somewhere, I guess. They should matter to someone somewhere. Or I would not be writing. I would not be writing at all. Writing, I'm most afraid. Most afraid to quicken the words and send them to their crisis. Most afraid to write down the words and let the day make them happen. Most afraid to let my guard down, expose myself to angels and prophets. Most afraid to lift the pen and draw out the letters, to write down the words that would inhabit space, inhabit thoughts that would have lived lives and walk among us. Would I recognize them, or would they recognize me at all? After the dreaming, the imagining of the words, after taking courage to write down the first few words and risking my comfort, would it matter? Would anything matter at all? I guess I would just watch the sun rise in the morning and descend in magnificent sunset. I guess I would just watch a television show and laugh with the audience. I guess I would just go to the mall and watch a movie. I guess I would just grab a newspaper and read the events, watch the world from a distance, smile at people, whistle a happy tune, and think of happy endings. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. I think that was laying your soul bare as a poet, because I have read a quotation in which, I don't know which author, but he says a poem is the poet's autobiography. So I think this was a subtle expression of the evolution of a poet, the inner poet, and very beautifully you have raised some countless questions which are intriguing but pertinent in one's life if one is growing, a soul is growing mature. Would I be a better man? Would I please you? Would it matter? Beautifully said, sir. And it really shows how you are trying and working towards your growth as a soul, as a poet, as a concerned humanitarian. Thank you so much for joining us. That was deep and touching. So nice to have you and so nice to listen to. Thank you for being with us. Next in the session, I would invite Dr. Zamira Poren Zion from Israel. Do we have you, Dr. Zamira?
Yes.
Yeah, please. Yes. Welcome you, ma'am. And I would request you to give a brief introduction about yourself so that we know a little of what you're doing right now. And then start with the poem.
Okay. My name is Zmira Porantion. I live in Israel. I'm born in Israel. My parents born in Baghdad and they immigrated to Israel in 1951. I speak
So you
Arabic.
write poetry right now? Poetry. You write
I
poetry?
write poetry. I established a movement of women in Israel to help poor women and women that come from the East. I would it's okay. I'm a professor at university. I'm teaching.
You're a professor, poet, and a social activist too. Yeah.
Okay. First, I think that poetry come to help us to understand our life and our death, to understand and to be close to our soul. Emily Dickinson said that when I read something and I feel that my hands burns, my heart burns, I feel it's poetry. And Coleridge said that poetry is the best words in the best order, and the minimum that said maximum. And the poetry is music in words and painting in words. Now, I would like to speak about poetry in Israel. My friends Daniel and Shoshana, and thank you to Maya. Maya, my friend Maya, that invite me here. Thank you, Maya. I would like to say that we are in a very bad time. I'm very, very humble. I feel very, very black time in my soul, in my country, in my people. I'm almost crying because people come in the morning, take our children, take women, take old women, rape them, cut their heads, take them to Gaza. 1,400 people in one night, in one day, killed. We can't write poetry. It's not time for poetry. But I try to do something for you to understand that we are a free country. We are democracy. We try to help the Palestinian. Hamas is ISIS. They are not helping the Palestinians at all. Remember this. Help us, please, with this. My poetry that I sent to Maya, it's not really a poetry, but it's just said something with a very high voice. It's from the Bible. In the Bible, in Hebrew, the first word is שיר מזמור לאסף, אלוהים אל דומי לך, אל תחרש ואל תשתוק אל, כי הנה אויביך יהמיון, משנאיך נשאו ראש, על עמך יערימו סוד ויתייעצו על צפוניך, אמרו, לכו ונכחידם מגוי ולא ייזכר שם ישראל עוד. They want to erase Israel from the world. My poetry is about this line from the Bible. Women, do not fall silent. Is your mouth perch of hope? Don't fall silent, women, in the terror of dying mother, in the cries of her mourning baby. Will knives behead the memories of lives once lived? Will our horses rise slowly without a beam of light and no sail to take flight? Has quiet been stuffed hour before our eyes? Because the night lies heavy on the broken mother's brow. Have pets leading home gone sadness, and children laughter cut off, bled out from stamps' bodies? Will we never see their faces? Those strips of the past, strips of now, and what will be tomorrow? And then comes morning, the world shaking itself off like a baby with a drop of milk on his lips, waiting for his mom, waiting for his mother, waiting for her heart, her warm hands with its promise of sweetness. Morning pulls the sleepy village where no warning is heard. They wake slowly, face soft with holiday day, when suddenly monsters tear through all illusion. An endless pit opens below them, cruel and evil, blood cover the world, horizon choked. Black speaks, iron anger, roar of war fill the land. The limb left hanging, the heaviness stand empty and missing of mercy. Have words creased their meaning? Will uproots mountains stay mute? Have heard and hearts broken open the chains age? Do not fall silent, women, in the terror of murdered mother. A world we knew even yesterday is eternally changed. The orphan's earring will cross our life forevermore. And what will be tomorrow? Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Zamira. Thank you, Dr. Zamira. We pray for peace. A war is undoubtedly pathetic and leaves irreparable losses. The heaviness of your heart is understandable, truly. But we thank you from the bottom of our heart for joining us today, lending us your ears and your voice. Thank you. Thank you so much. I now once again invite Zlatan Demirovic from US, who has joined us now in the panel. Zlatan Demirovic is a bilingual writer, a novelist, critic, poet, and a trilingual translator, the founder of Prodigy Life Academy, Prodigy Magazine, USA. Can we have your poetry, Zlatan? Please unmute yourself. Okay, there seems to be some connection network problem once again. So let's move on to the next poet. We have
Mute.
Daniel.
I will try. Do you hear me now?
Okay, Zlatan, yes. Yes, we can hear you. Yeah, please move on with your poetry. I welcome you to the show. Welcome you to the conference. We would like to hear from you.
Okay. Hello. Namaste, dear friends, brothers, sisters, sublime souls. I'm glad to get in touch with you this way after heavy activities. Actually, I would like to say some few words before I read my poem. I'm really convinced that I'm going to share with you. This is applicable on general idea of this conference. First of all, I want to express my sincere appreciation to Mr. President Dr. Janail, Vice President Dr. Maya, Dr. Molly, and the entire board of members, scholars, thinkers, and other participants. This way, I'm going to affirm one general and for all of us vital idea, which certainly should lead to the same goal. Definitely, this is awakening. Our bloody reality amid the spider network of paradigms is designed to keep us mesmerized and comfortably numbed for any kind of decision making. I'm excited to be surrounded by dozens of poets here, pondering that each of us can individually spend multiple hours upbraiding our political or poetic masterpieces, accepting the glorious back wave of celebration and public acceptance. But it's not the point here. Obviously, our main goal is to take at least just a little step forward and possibly turn the tide of history. Where what we are facing in the very short future, we must unite in the general idea of breaking all these paradigms. Individually, we are not strong enough, but collectively, we can make a change. This change actually is already happening in all around the world, but it's going very slow, so we have to push it as much as possible. And how can we do it? We can't go institutions convincing any leader not to do what he's well paid, right? As we all know, sick bodies occasionally treated with material planes not always are cured successfully. Spiritual planes where disease came from, and the cure should come from there. We all are spiritual beings and would address our message to the same field. Higher consciousness is one which should certainly resonate coming back to us. What I feel here is the huge amount of positive energy forming a cloud of energy, so-called egregore ideas. I would start working itself and energetically reflect these changes. It will start. The great thinker from the beginning of 20th century, the best-selling author of all time, Napoleon Hill, used to call it Mastermind Alliance, which we are right now. I will use this opportunity to read my poem, Peace of Mind, which is the cornerstone of incoming anthology created by hundreds of poets from all around the world. And it's pretty much telling what I meant before. If you can see our magazine, there is my poem, Peace of Mind. It's not time for criticism, nor smart discussions. No logic, no reason. No time for hypocrisy, nor our proverbial cynicism addressing empty lessons to executor. No time for mining historical facts, nor adornment with symbols of luck. Once upon a time, we knew how to pray for the rain, or even unravel the storm. But our cell memory of underground evil is burning light inside the black hole of soft white cloud of living. Let's celebrate all we've been bestowed. The holy breath, the bright blue sky, wild forest, mountain spring with ocean lullaby. But it's the last minute to pray for something we're desperately missing. We, the humans, from all sides, let's pray for peace of mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that was Peace of Mind, beautiful poem. And yes, you rightly said, a collective change is significant right now. This is not the time when we think only about ourselves or about our own world, but collective change is required. Thank you for tuning in. I now invite our next poet, Daniel Rivach from Israel again. Daniel, if you could hear me, please unmute yourself. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much, Varnit, and thank you for having me here.
And please
Especially
let us know what you are doing right now, apart from writing poetry, and then you can recite your poems.
Absolutely. And also want to first thank to Maya for inviting me, and of course say hello to my friends from around the world and from Israel, Mira and Shosh. Hope you're all well. I'm a PhD student and a researcher at the University of Oxford. I research psychology and linguistics and cognitive anthropology. A lot of what we do is about understanding human narrative, how language is used, how identity is shaped in groups and individuals, and what we're experiencing, these conflicts worldwide, whether it's in Israel, the disaster we've had, and in Gaza, and in Ukraine.
Right now you're in London. That's
I am in Oxford. I'm in Oxford. They always bring back these big questions of what it means to be human. How can that be changed through our language, our actions and morality, how that can be changed through our language, through our interactions. And I think poetry has a certain role in that. That didn't seem the case, for example, right after October 7. I think to this moment, sometimes words seem a little silly and pointless. Almost like there's nothing that words can do. There's no words to describe what we're experiencing. But on the other hand, poetry does have an important role here. And that's, as has been said, it's to show the human side of things, to counteract the divisive, superficial rhetoric that we find in the news by politicians. Poets have to point back always from the big fancy rhetoric to the human beings at stake, to the lives, to the personal experiences, keep pointing back to what really matters. I think that's our role. After a certain writer's block, when I was just kind of bewildered by the events and words didn't make sense, I started writing again. And I've written quite a few poems about the war, the current war in Israel and Gaza, in particular the atrocious events of on October 7 that happened. It's a poetry collection called 710. I'll be happy to also provide a link later on for those who want to see more. I'll read a few short poems. I just want to mention from this collection. I want to mention that it's written in English and Hebrew, and of course is translated by many poets from around the world, again as part of this effort to really unite humanity in the pain of the human beings on the ground that really experience this to the fullest. So poets from all around gathered to translate this, including a few here. So we have a lot of languages going into this project and giving it many different voices, but especially giving a voice to the victims. So I'll start with the first poem. The poems don't have names or titles. What did the bullets find? Her deepest secret, dream, childhood crush, last night's dinner with a lover, ideas for baby names, vertebra, 3 words inside his left lung, a song stuck in her head, a bullet, his first memory, last thoughts, remember. What did the knives find? As you can see, thank you. As you can see, the poems don't avoid big words, abstractions, reflections, and the idea is really to bring it back to the human beings, to the personal, to the moment in which this experience was lived at its fullest. I'll read another one now. Remember, I'll just read 2 short ones if I have more time. Yeah. So the next one would be here we go. Remember, people in the ambulance growing heavy as silence spreads through their veins. Imagine the medics praying in between last breaths. He stands wrapped in tefillin. He prostrates on a rug. Imagine praying until the October sky is heavy with words. And one final one, again, to emphasize our need to remember the individuals involved and their names, always going back to remembering the names of the people. Collect their names from the fields scattered, from the scorched houses that still scream, their names lumped together in the living room, from the streets, from the dead lovers' cold, clutched fingers, a name plastered to the grass by blood too thick to dry, from a witness's rattling teeth, a name, how they keep multiplying their names like mushrooms after rain, faster than you could collect them. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Daniel, thank you so much. In fact, let me appreciate you. That was like a first-hand graphic picturization of the scene, but with the vision of the poet, for sure. It was not a journalistic vision, but the vision of the poet, the kind of empathy, the pathos that was ingrained in your poems. And here I'm also reminded of W.B. Yeats, who used to remember the sacrifices of his people in the Irish rebellions in his poems like Easter in September. And, he used to remember all those people because he had seen them fighting. And he said, Irish does not regard anybody, so I give spaces to my people in my poems. So that was somewhat on those lines, and I really appreciate your understanding and how graphically you have touched the chords of what people are going through. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you've also enjoyed the sessions in this conference.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning. So moving on with the session, we now have again from Israel, another French poet, Shoshana Vega. I invite Shoshana. She's here with us since the beginning of the conference. Hi, Shoshana.
Hi.
So what would you like to share with us tonight?
Well, I will say that I introduce myself. I'm a poet, a writer, a publisher, and a translator. I also
also a publisher. Okay.
Yes, I'm a publisher,
So
and
you have a bigger responsibility of launching more poets at your publication house, so that there could be more voices to talk about.
Yes, and this is I'm making this day. I'm making an anthology with a poet from Israel and poet from around the world, and we are about these days, about this shock, about this trauma, about this what will happen to Israel and the Palestinians. Is the same for at this time, especially for me. I'm looking at it from my side that in the 7th of October, we had
yeah, we need to register these experiences so
Yes.
that we could learn, and the coming generations could also learn from the horrors of these wars and conflicts.
Yes, I want to say that at first that when it happened to us, we stayed without words. It was like a white page that come across, and you cannot do anything, and you cannot think about anything, and you cannot find the words to describe what you feel. But we are passing many emotions that come from anger to crying, and it's coming to you after at night. You got the vision and the mind, and you're thinking. And I'm living in the middle of the state, between the north and between the south, and luckily I don't have siren in my city, and the refugees are coming to my city, so I can see them. Many people have no houses because the houses were burned, and the kids were kidnapped. The kids were kidnapped, babies. Even a kid was born in the over there, over Gaza. Woman pregnant was taken as hostages, and she was kidnapped, and she was delivered with the kidnapper. So this is like something that you cannot catch with your mind and your feeling. And I feel pity for all of this. And in this kind of after a week, I started to write few poems, and I'm writing it. But I will read the 2 short stories. But it's I tell you something, like I'm washing my house, and suddenly the poem is coming. And this is the poem of like making the cleaning the house, washing. I've cleaned the house with the tears of the kidnappees. I've cleaned my house after a month of mourning, and they are still there. In addition to the 1,000 dead, and the list is still going, and the hand is still writing. Who is for mercy and who is for grace? Who to die and who to burn? Who will die and who will live in suffering? I still have a home in a beautiful street, and I don't know where are they. For the first time in my life, I am crying, and the tears are not running. It's invisible. I can say that my soul was kidnapped. Not my soul only, but all the soul were kidnapped. And in the love, I'm a poet of love, by the way. I like to write poem about love, and to love and to write poet about love in war, it's difficult, but I did it. Love at war. And suddenly, love in war. The rain clouds are far away, and here the tears are constant. Still you want to feel me, so I open my heart a little, but it is not enough to bring you close to me. And suddenly, all the dreams are melting in the dark. I don't know how long I will need to wait, as the war has no expired day. I thank you. I thank you.
Thank you, Shoshana. That was beautiful. And I think our platform itself today, the poetry platform, has been washed with a deluge of emotions that you people are carrying, the very genuine emotions, because you're having first-hand experiences of that pain and suffering, which nobody would like to have. And I would like to conclude here in one sentence that it is not the country who suffers, but it is the people who suffer. Of course. It is the people, it is the individual who suffers with the pain and so it is. Let's all pray for peace. And I must admit, Shoshana, that this is the right way that you survive through poetry. You know, that deluge of emotions overpowering you in brain and mind and soul. When it outpours through poetry, this is the way it soothes you and it gives you a kind of a catharsis. So all our wishes, all our good wishes are with you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you. Thank you very
Poem,
much.
Shoshan.
Thank you.
I now invite Eva Petropoulo Liano, who's a poet and a professor from Greece. She's a world ambassador of our International Academy of Ethics also. And she has undertaken a great role of uniting the world by the written word and also building cultural bridges. I invite you, Eva. Thank you for tuning.
Hello, all. Do you hear me?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
audible? Yes, hello.
Yeah. Clear.
I am very, very happy to be with you. It's an honor. I'm really, really extremely happy because with internet, we can travel the world, and with poetry, we can fly over all the planet. Dr. Gerald S. Anand, it's my inspiration. It's my guru, and I thank him from my bottom of my heart. Namaste, and maybe one day maybe I meet you in India. I congratulate all of you. And for me, poetry, it's peace. Poetry, it's peace itself. We cannot write poems if we don't have poetry in our heart. I kiss Susanna because I still remember our meeting in Greece and the nice walk we have in Plakai Monastiraki, and we talked for so many things. I kiss Daniel, and thank you so much that you read my poems. Like Plato said, only the dead have seen the end of war. So I invite you to stay safe, to stay alive. I read my first poem, a book. A book opened his page. A boy started to read, and heroes come out of the chapters. Weapons start to make such a noise. Bombs was coming down to buildings. Schools and hospitals were vanished, and babies and women cry for help. The boy also started to cry. Nobody could hear it. Nobody. They were all occupied to count their small green and blue papers. All over there were small green papers. Everything it's happened for that green papers. The boy closed the book with tears in his eyes. He took another one. He starts looking the beautiful illustration. So many flowers, so many animals. And that was a happy moment. There was a big lake, and he opened another chapter. And there was a forest, and big trees, and mountains. This chapter had a peaceful life, and the title was The Peaceful World of Olivia. The boy continued to read, and that afternoon was the most amazing time in the whole planet, reading poetry. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. That was brilliant. So we now know the power of poetry through you and through all our dear poets
Thank you so
who
much.
joined us. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Now I invite Milica Jefti-Mijevic-Lilik, who is a member of the Association of Serbian Writers and also its vice president. She's been a professor at the University of Pristina and editor on Belgrade TV. Also a member of the Association of Journalists of Serbia. She has published several collections of poems and stories for children. She's also an expert advisor to Italian International Council for Diplomacy and Justice. I welcome you, Milica, and
Hello.
I invite you to recite your poems. Hello, Milica.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, yes. Quite clear.
Hello to everybody. I wanted to thank the Dr. Adam Jornal to invite me, and want to say that it's a really great occasion to be here with many of us and listen nice poetry and very interesting experience with poetry. But I must say something so simply. Poetry is our life, our dreams, but poetry can't stop bombing, killing, can't bring freedom to many countries it needs. Even my homeland, north of Kosovo and Metohija. But now I will show you something nice. This is book about Rabindranath Tagore. It's published before 1 month. Dr. Professor Jovan Pejčić wrote a book about this great Indian poet when he visited Serbia before near 100 years. Now I will read 2 poems translated by Lazar Matsura. Ulysses' Confession. When I set eyes on you, it was the first rainy day that I experienced as a sunny one. After then on many rainy days that life used to bring, then I could not know that it was the moment for a dream. I returned that rainy day, absorbing the sunshine from your face, in order to be able to process it. Aware that I could have you only in that moment of short-living dream, like a faraway star that is remembered, I did not dare to extend my arms to utter anything, fearing my presumptuous wish. Later on, all supposed words suffocated in my throat. Their hush simply killed me, while you were more and more the sunshine from your face, and nevermore in my life there flashed generous rays so brilliantly and unequally. And poem, God unite us. The touch of the hands, that sublime giving, occurred beyond recall, as if we washed that from our hands, everything that used to be between us for centuries. We were gathered by the Logos, as if we were born in the joining of the hands, in the bliss not felt before. The water of essence flows through us into our palms, so that God's face reflects in it and speaks through us. God united us. He is here to stay. He has settled into our palms, and we keep here to ourselves. Thank you very much. Greeting from Serbia.
Thank you, Milica. Yeah, that was pure and sublime indeed. God united us. so that we could stay united and create peace all around us. Thank you for tuning in and joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So in this series, in the International Conclave of Poetry, we finally have a bright and gifted poet from Bangladesh. I invite Sabyasachi Nazrul. His works have been translated into 44 international languages. A bilingual global poet, motivational author, columnist, presenter. He's also the associate member of the University of Ethics, the sub-editor and literary editor of the daily Global Nation Independent International newspaper. I invite you, Sabyasachi, and I welcome you to this session. And you joined quite early in the conference, but we are concluding with your powerful poetry. So, Sabyasachi, if you're hearing me, can you unmute yourself?
You hear me?
Sabyasachi, are you there? Yes, yes, we can hear. Yes, yes, yes. Please proceed.
It's an electricity trouble. My camera is dropped down. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please move on.
Congratulations to all. Greetings from Bangladesh. I thank you all, Aparna Chugni, ma'am. I also thanks to my dearest guru, General Nasanas, for inviting me. It's great to understand what I don't want to world peace. I don't want to want peace. We want a world of peace. We want to demand. We want. We are all over the world's poets. We want one world. This is my first point. One world, one peace. Warlords and patrons have taken over.
Could we have you a bit louder, Sabyasachi? That would be more interesting if we could hear you more clearly. A bit louder.
Louder? Can I slow my sound?
A little increase in your volume. If you could get closer to the system, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Warlords and war zones have taken over all the world, which enters our heart, body, mind. The soul is covered with heavy weapons. Even if you want to go out of styles of bombardment, but even newborn babies, men and women express the sky, the world is heavy. Children of constitution like crying all over the place, crying. The hospital also has no medical equipment. Piles of corpus of war, corridors, mountains of corpse, bloody, no more just one. Why are the things? There is no more food, clothing, medical applications. Humanity is blinded by poverty. The conscience of the world is blinded. Rape of girls, children, and women is against the law of war. Brutality at its level. Nationalism cannot yield to be brought force. The anti-criminal killing of people cannot continue. Do you remember the massacre of Dhaka? Remember the massacre of Hiroshima, Nagasaki, Pearl Harbor, Auschwitz? Remember World War First? Remember World War Second? The world was on the way to destruction. Standing on the brink of World War Third, we are on the path of destruction. Fire. There is no peace. There is no peace. Intra-reservations and divided regions are all inclusive. Look at Gaza, Israel, Kuwait, Syria, Lebanon, Kashmir, Arakan. Why to brandish the bloody war? Why are the bandits to bloody war? A piece of land, crying for peace, crying for peace. There may still be a little time for this. In bloody resources, common sense are not destroyed. Humanity is on the path of destruction today. Humanity is on the path of destruction today. As a group of Hepsias unites, versus the door, the women are remember the war in Bangladesh, Vietnam, NATO man, like sprouts. Or those conflicts being gang raped by soldiers in Africa. Those days of cruelty and coward. Remember the case numbers. Hundreds of newborns, immature babies have been shocked in the mother's womb. Yes, yes. Every tenderness is in Gaza is now a dark gate of lust and madness. Oh Arabs, wake up. People of the world, wake up. Get up, wake up. Stop the indiscriminate genocide. Stop it. Stop it before the total existence and destruction. Oh brokers of power, warlords of the world, you say, you too are the on brink of destruction. Rivers of blood, heaps of displaces, forests, mountains of rocks. I can breathe in the toxicity of bombardment. Stop this destruction before it's all over. Come, come, decorate one world, one peace before the endless light. We demand one world, one peace. If it is impossible, we demand one world. My second point, I recite my second point. The war. A war, a plant attack, a continuous conflict, not an innocent nation, the brink of destruction. Destroying humanity, cry for peace, cry for peace. Prayer today is only, we want peace, not war. Ammo weapons not last and long power. Arrogance is not even a common crime. The souls of arrogance is profit is loss. Souls are all emotionless and silent. The politics of hypothetical begins when the innocent women and children are snatched away by storms, seas, land, and ferocious dinosaurs. The flying songs of the dead soul. The powers of men possible to say. Arms sunk in the bosses. Why? 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 For what purpose in the blood of precious innocent? Don't know, should honest like frozen silent with his body started by your blades. Why? In whose interest are your cities down? Busy ports, architectural research into the destruction. What is the competition? What is the competition? Dominate all weapons or wars land and talent. Why? Why? Why even calm political groups and domestic animals are frozen silent? Bloody, dying, bloody, dying. Oh, warland, I know abandoned monster. You are a bastard child, part of a narcissist. Why do you want to make the land of full of peace? You are made of the blood of awesome. Someone off, even if scattered, lost, refuses, abandoning their happy and beautiful lives. In other people's land, crying just floods, the blood of the soul of beautiful is one with the impact of your soul lives other. Celebration of a relationship blood lies invested in wild arms, heavens, hearts, human life, earth, romance, love, and destroyed, turn into the whole. This is your responsibility. This is your responsibility. The endless seas, godless today, innocent men and women, mothers and children, the sky spiriting cries of the old days, tears depleted in the sea. The galaxies have cast. The incomparable moonlight is dim, the stars are unresponsive. The stars are unresponsive. I know when the sun goes out, covered with dust and smoke, the song of the birds, the voice of the night, the nest of the birds, the insects, the tears, the habitat of animals, the reservoir of oxygen, the forest of banana will also be destroyed by one means. Blackness of the culture, the sharp, violent cries of the Lord, the mass damage, so much destruction, so much blood, so much tears, so much water to the nations of great people. Who is responsible for this? Who is responsible for this? The world, the world. You are the responsible for this. And responsible. You are the responsible for this. The world. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabyasachi. That was indeed a noble wrapping up of the entire conference. You projected the horrors of the war as well as you pinpointed how noble is the soul. And I think here is what we are here for. common prayer for the world, for the peace, for the establishment of peace, and how you went back to the massacres of the First World War also, and massacre of Dhaka and Hiroshima, and people crying for peace. Yes, that was a graphic representation. And here is the role of a poet, which is as serious as ever, that we need to sensitize ourselves and the society into writing and understanding the human values and the need for peace. So thank you, Sabyasachi, for joining us tonight. So here we end the third session of this conference on the first day. Dr. Anand, would you like to say something about it?
Actually, it seems that in most of the poems, in the entire poetry, I will say the present war consciousness was there, and everybody was talking about it. And the soul of poetry has been, I think, burned by this evil eruption of war. The array of poets was very impressive, and I think we had the best poetry by best poets, best words in best arrangement, as we say. And I would also once again put on record my thanks for the organizational group, for Dhirji and Dr. Praneeth. You were very nice today. Thank you very much for being with us and just elevating and lifting up the standard of this discourse. Thank you very much. And I thank all the friends who obliged me by coming from all parts of the world, Zlatan and Cordwella. Very senior poets were here. So we have felicitated some of them, Sabyasachi and Eva and some others I mentioned in the beginning. So we remain thankful to all of you. Now we request Randhirji for a formal.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Anand. In fact, it has been quite a privilege, and I'm also humbled to have such a bevy of scholars and poets here. And the entire environment has been sensitized. It has sensitized our minds and souls all together. Thank you all for tuning in. And for formal vote of thanks, I would invite Professor Randhir Gautam, our very favorite host. He's a professor at ITM University, Gwalior, to present a vote of thanks of the first day of the conference. Professor Randhir Gautam.
Thank you so much, Dr. Praneeth. It was really very insightful and a healing session, I would say. Because this is the poetry session, but we feel a kind of suffering for the world, and we are confronting with this Ukraine crisis and Israel crisis. And it is very well said that agency is the condition of a struggle, and hope is the condition of the agency. And these poets' deliberation, I would say, was very, very healing. It has a lesson of past. People talked about Rabindranath Tagore. People talked about Aurobindo. It has also, a art of living of today and hope for tomorrow. And the important thing is not to stop hoping. And so this is the kind of very, very important session for today's time, in the context of today's time. So on behalf of World Poetry Conference 5, I, Randhir Kumar Gautam, feel a great sense of gratitude to Honorable Dr. Jainal Singh Anand, Honorable guest of today's session, Dr. Rashid, and Dr. Kalpana Purohitji, for her very, very important keynote address. And her presentation was splendid in that sense that she really beautifully articulated a sense of today's poetry session. I extend a very great sense of thankfulness to Dr. Maja Herman Sekulik, Dr. Bhagirath Chaudhary ji, Lalit Mohan Sharma ji, Arvindam Roy ji. We have a very great, I would say, deliberation from our friend from Israel, Canada, and England. I'm very thankful to Royal James G, Edward Korowedilla ji, Dr. Jermaine Watson, Daniel, young and very bright poet, I would say, but the kind of perspective he brought in his poetry was really remarkable. Eva Leonul, Sostona Veig, Melik Silik, Dr. Sabbasachi, and last but not the least, Dr. Panit Jaggi, because the all important, success of the event is in the hand of anchor, and she is not just an anchor but a great, I would say, very she has a very deep sense of understanding, and her presence of mind is very impressive, and her presentation always enriched our any kind of program, be it poetry session, be it conference, be it seminar, be it webinar. So thank you so much for all of you for your kind participation in today's session.
Dr. Praneeth, we will listen to your poem tomorrow.
Yeah, sure, sir, sure.
And I'm also very grateful to. I'm also very grateful to our Facebook viewers and Zoom participants, and we look forward for your kind participation in tomorrow's session and 26th of November. That is the last day of our poetry conference 5.
Thank you so much, Ranveer ji. Also, my final thanks for that wonderful smile that all the poets and Molly ma'am is constantly giving us. So that keeps us motivating and fatigue doesn't come up in any way. So thank you all for tuning in. With heavy hearts, of course, we may depart today to meet tomorrow again for the second day of the conference. But before we leave and before we part, let's promise that we will stay together, we'll stay united as poets, we'll stay connected, share our poems with each other, because that's the only way. We outpour and we get into that zone of catharsis, which Aristotle said is a very easy way of purifying yourself, that purgation. Otherwise, we'll all die of the emotions that we carry, the load of emotions. So this is a very nice moment and occasion that before we depart, let's pray for peace and well-being of all humanity. And loads and tons of thanks to you all, such divine, human, noble souls who have shared such beautiful poetry, although all poetry was loaded with pathos, but that has in some way, triggered us to do something more for humanity. Just get out of our own shells and do something more, at least for each other. Listening to each other itself is a huge blessing, a gift for each other. So let's stay together, let's stay united. Thank you all for your smiles, for lending your ears and voices. Thank you from my side.
Thank you so much.
Good night.